Hi everyone, welcome back to Jesus Nuggets with Miss Gay. And today I want to talk about what are the mountains in your life. And I was thinking about this last Sunday at church, and I just really felt like that the Lord wanted me to just bring this up to people. And in Matthew 17:20, it says, "So Jesus said to them, because of your unbelief, for assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you." And then in Mark 11:23 and 24, it says, "For assuredly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that those things he says will be done, he will have whatever he says. Therefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them and you will have them." And I know that when I first heard these scriptures taught, when I started walking with the Lord, I thought to myself, how could that happen? I was thinking actually a literal mountain, that we could actually tell a literal mountain to move and it would move. And I'm not saying that God wouldn't do that. I'm not ever saying that. But what I learned through the years is that many of us have mountains in our lives. And, we're trusting God to move them. And He's just saying, if you just have this little bit of faith, this mountain in your this mountain in your life, you can say to it, move. And with your faith in me, that I can move it, I will move it. Now, understand, it may not move at just that moment, because Jesus does do stuff in His own time. And His timing is perfect. He's never late, but He sure isn't early. And one thing I have learned, just because you may say this thing is a mountain to you, doesn't mean it's a mountain to me. But I am not going to tell you that you shouldn't think that that's a big deal just because that's not a mountain to me. Different people have different mountains, and a mountain isn't the same to everyone. But the key here is your faith. And when God says, whatever you believe when you pray for it, you'll receive it. Understand too, that's if it is in His will. But I have learned that when my will meets His will, then I pray His will. And so many times, that's what we have to do, is say, Father, what is your will in this situation? And He will tell us. And a lot of times just our growth will help us to just start praying what His will is. And then in Mark 5:34, above that, it's talking about the woman with the issue of blood. And she had been, I think it was like 12 years, she had been to one doctor after another doctor after another doctor, and no one could help her. And I know if that was me, that would be like the biggest mountain in the world in my life. And I'm sure it was in hers as well. But she knew, she had that belief in Jesus, that if she could just get a hold of Him, He would heal her. And in verse 34, it says, "And He said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. So part of this, a lot of this message could be about faith, strengthening your faith. But really, I believe the Lord just wanted to say, what are the mountains in your life? And do you believe that I can conquer those mountains for you? And He wants us to believe He can, because He wants to do it, but our unbelief prevents Him from doing it. Because if He just started doing things when we didn't believe in Him, then how would we ever grow in our faith? What would be the reason for even having faith? And I know sometimes I am one who says, yes, God, I know you can do it, but will you do it for me? I've seen you do these things for other people. I've seen you do big things for other people, but will you do it for me? And I'll tell you, sometimes I have to say, Lord, forgive my unbelief and help me to be stronger in my faith. And I have to pray those things for myself, because I don't know about everybody else, but I have those problems. So I just keep praying. I just say, Lord, I know you can do it. And really, many times I say, Father, if it be your will. And I just completely submit my will to His. And there are mountains right now that I've been praying for a long time. And they're mountains in my life. And I know God can do it. And I have promises from the Lord that He will do it. When will He do it? What it'll look like, I have no idea. But just think about the mountains. The Lord wants us to think about the mountains in our life. And do we believe that He can help us move those mountains? Because He says, with the faith of a mustard seed, a little bitty faith, you can do this great big thing. Of course, we're doing it through His strength. And I know that's a huge analogy, but, breaking it down again, if we just have that little bit of faith, the big things in our life, we can tell them to move. And in His strength, in His timing, in His power, they will be gone. So, with that, happy Saturday, everybody. Tomorrow's Sunday. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I always say it might be Friday, but Sunday's coming. So, you all have a great weekend. And until the next time, keep your eyes on the prize, which is Jesus Christ.